Hello. Just setting up the stream. All right. What is there to do today? So, last time I streamed, it was a little frustrating, and I think I like checked away a lot of this stuff. So, here, I was trying to play around with um, SQL updates on nullable data types. And this is too small. Yeah, okay. So here in SQL update, was it here? I think it was in, yeah, I think it was in like SQL execute, or maybe even like Postgres. In here, I think it was. When we call send query, yeah. This. Yep, okay. So this is exactly what it was. I was playing around with send query being able to work on actual args, actual null args, instead of like the string representation null. Because like this is like, it's like valid SQL to store a string whose contents is the word null in a database. And so this is like, this is pretty bad news. And similarly, we've got some stuff in our, we got some like nullability mistakes in our code in general, where like things which like there's no way currently in, I don't know, like in here. It's like none of these are nullable, but if user ID, for example, was nullable, there's like no way to express that, and there's extra no way to express that in like an update. We just have to compare to zero, which I think like Postgres ID sequences start at one, so it would sort of help us out, but like that's not as a hack, it's not treating null as it should be treated. Um, and so I think what I wanted to explore was playing around with nulls, and my takeaway is that this is bad news. This is it's pretty bad. And it seemed like it would be like, so this, to some extent, we need to match an API that looks a little bit like this in order to fit into, like this PQ exec params API. Like we need, like at the end of the day, this is going to require like an array of void pointers to data. Um, but I'm hoping that we'll either use like a tagged union, is that what it's called? Um, yeah, or like something to figure out, like what we really want is something like a tagged union or like a pattern matched like a Swift enum or something, and that this any type is just not right for us because it's like impossible to represent certain things. It's just like very cumbersome to represent certain concepts with any is my current takeaway. Um, yeah. And so I have a few thoughts about how to get here. Maybe I'll try to sketch out some code first. I don't want this to be J. So, all right, at some point we need to call send query on connection command args. And like args is gonna be some array, and maybe it does make sense for it to be of type any. But it might make more sense for it to be of type of like of a tagged union. All right, so like first, maybe I should do a little bit more reading to figure out like what even is the difference between an any and a tagged union. Maybe that feels like a worthwhile avenue to go down. And like, why was I running into problems? So my theory on the problem was that I was doing something like bring up one more buffer. Is that I was doing something prepared query and prepared args gets like prepare like a layer expression and some args. And this did some work of like converting question marks in this into like indexed $1, $2 to match the SQL API, the Postgres API. And it did some work in here to flatten out like list typed data into, or like array type data into just occupying many placeholders instead of like trying to squish them all into a single question mark, which seems like it's not supported in the PQ. And then so this to be like slightly more content more accurate here, this is like a string and this is an any list. Okay, and then I would say like execute. I would do like this, yeah. So this is like roughly what I was up to. Okay, and this is happening in some like SQL execute context, which took like some args, but who cares exactly how we got them. And notably, like inside of here, like inside of prepare, we're doing something like if arg equals null, like prepared args gets like null, which means like an any of, which is sort of, I think, equivalent to say, like, I think that like these things are equivalent. I'm not like 100% certain on that, but I'm pretty sure. Um, uh, and then this is obviously wrong because this is even like inside of a loop, right? Like for like this is like iterating over all the question mark characters in like where. Uh, And so, like in this case, even like this, even in within this for loop is going to get overwritten over and over again. This like value because it's just like on the stack in the context of the loop. Um, and so that it means that like I would return this, which here like arg, let's say like prepared args 0 is going to be equal to like noise already, right? Because like this loop would have like messed us up already here. And then we call execute, and then what's worse is that almost certainly execute pushes more onto the stack, which is like all but guaranteed to overwrite value. And so like this null is just lost, just like how any constant might be lost. And I think that this is what was going on here. Okay, so what are some solutions? Um, Looks like what we're doing currently and it's bad news. So I guess I feel like there's like two options that speak to me. One is to use tagged unions, um, where we could stick to like a current, we could stick to the similar pattern, only maybe we would say, so, oh yeah, string, and I was trying to find this typo. I knew I had a typo somewhere. Okay, so here, instead of this being a bracket, this might maybe start as a bracket any, uh, but it's maybe already like wants to be like a SQL value. And like a SQL value is a like, yeah, tagged union. And what are the types that we allow? We allow like an int, a float, string, and a pointer to an int, a pointer to float, pointer to string, and I don't know, is there anything else that we even do here? Did I sneak that T in? I think I did, yeah. I guess it could be like, maybe that's like interesting too. Probably not though. Okay, so now you've got to be like one of these. And then like how, like you manipulate these with one of these, with like a call like that, yeah? Yeah, set is okay, cool. So then in this case, all right, so like notably, like this says like push a variable onto the stack called value, and then like take its address, push that address, save that address on any instance, add that any to a list, and then like immediately overwrite value on the stack. Yeah. I think that's like roughly what I'm inadvertently saying here, which is like bad news. And so like the path forward, right? And so like that's why this would then like so now like prepared args I is already garbage. And then here like prepared args like remains garbage. Okay, cool. So that was like the problem here. But so the structure of a tagged union, unlike in any, like they're largely similar, except a tagged union has, is this even in here? Right, it like allocates, yeah, the bytes in line here. Like we're not using a pointer, we're like doing a copy when we create a record, when we create an instance of a tagged union. And right, so like the string has like contains a pointer, and these three contain pointers, but basically like int, float, and the three pointer types all have the same storage type, and string has like a little bit more space used as storage. I think the reason that any doesn't do the same strategy as tagged union is almost certainly like a memory optimization question of like the lightest way to build any is to just to assume that the data that you're referencing is like in scope and remains in scope for as long as the any is in scope. Yeah. And so then you can just take a pointer to it and things are faster. Um, but those assumptions don't hold here for me. Um, so it's a real bad time. Um, so instead of being able to like count on any working for us, like maybe we can use this tag union, which stores things like an actual copy of the thing in memory. Okay, so what that would mean here is we say value gets some SQL value. We do like this, and we set value to null. Yeah, or just to like arg. Yeah, like we don't really need to even get clever here, right? So like arg is like already, well, arg in this case is already a SQL value, but even if we say that this was an any, um, but like null would probably have already bitten us. But yeah, so like when we even get here, this is like one of the things that I was thinking of, is that where I think takes, yeah, like we already have this any problem here, where like if we're setting null on, like if we're setting null, like we're probably having this problem to begin with, right? So maybe what we really want to say is now like SQL where has, right? So like this is what I'm getting at, is that maybe we want this to be of SQL value, which is this tagged union, and we're going to be doing copying at that point. And then, like when we're building things up, instead of saying like where.arg0 gets like 12, we would say like where set where.args 0 to 12. We could like do this. Right, and then in here, we don't even need to worry about that. Like our problem is just like solved, and like null like fits into our representation, and I think we're then just like good, right? So then this becomes SQL value, Oh yeah, that should go. I did that wrong. Let's go here. This wants to be, yeah, okay. And I'll just say like prepared args I gets value is I think what we would do. Or really what we would say is just like set a pointer to prepared args I to value to arg. Yeah. And like we don't even need that conditional or anything. Like it's just like fine for us now. And so what this says is like copy the value from arg into prepared args I, including its type. You know what we probably have to do, we probably just want to say like prepared args I gets arg is probably what we want to say. And this will just like copy over like all the interesting like stuff here. Copy the value from arg into prepared args I, including its type. Yes, perfect. Okay. And then here is not garbage. It's a copy we had before, right, originally. Okay, but I think that there's like a better, like the smallest change is probably use tagged unions here instead of an any type, which is sort of like an implicit global static union or tagged union. And I think that the like a better option though, like can we do better? Like named structs. Um, It's like, what if we had, so this is like something that I've been thinking through for a little bit. That like, so the SQL expression and the args count are like redundant, right? Because like the way this gets used is like let's say this and like created at is like less than something. You need to say like you need this two, which is like a repeat of the number of question marks in here. Um, which like isn't really perfect. And we need to do like there's just a lot where you need to like when you're setting one of these, we can say like some condition has that type, and we can say like some condition arg0. Like we would do, let's say we're using like tag unions or whatever. Um, let's make this an equals to make it easier. Um, like you need to like write it out this way, and like this is sort of hard to read, and like why is there a two at the end here? The two could easily be computed based on question marks here. And one thing that I've like wanted to do is to just like bail on that and instead have this be more like this. Get rid of that. And so like this is like allowed in Rails, and the way it works in Rails is you can say like where like you could it's like honestly like very similar. Maybe I'll make that like less than or equal to make it like slightly more encodable as a string. Maybe like that's not helping me. Okay, and then you can pass it in like ID 12 created, max created at like you can like write out your conditions this way, which I often find more readable because it lets you like have these named params instead of needing to make sure you get the order right. It's just like so easy to get the order wrong on stuff. Um, okay, but like how would that look here is like, so we certainly wouldn't want those two, but what we would probably want to do is uh, like this. And does this actually help us? I think this might actually help us. Okay, so like how do we ever implement this? Let's like SQLware currently knows to give itself like an array of type any of args count. Um, and I think instead we need to do some nonsense like this, where we would like well, okay, so for one thing is that we could like start by like configuring args count. We could do something like configuring args count here. So we could do like struct id and max created at string, you know? And this would be like we could start by just doing this. We wouldn't have to do any like string munging or clever metaprogramming. There'd be like no magic here. And this would just like declare like, okay, so like the like we're like composed of these fields and this thing. And then this is really not that hard, right? So then like here we just say like args like type is like t, and we're like args is now we're like using args and it's of type args type. Yeah. I don't know, this is like pretty good, right? And then these are like effectively allocated, right? We don't have the downside of a tagged union that we're passing around this like unnecessary type information. Like life is kind of easy. Okay, and then this SQLware and we no longer like do this noise. I think what we do instead is like, you know, okay, let me like make sure I know this is new. Maybe I'll just call this like new SQLware. And it's like this is gonna look kind of similar, only instead of us having that, um, we're just gonna be composed of these two, and we're gonna have like, yeah, right? And here we're not gonna have to like iterate over each of these. We'll just like, is this just like much easier? Why does this seem like I'm cheating? Why does it seem like I'm like hacking? How did this get so much easier all of a sudden? I'm like getting pretty excited about this approach. I like slept on it and felt like this was the right approach, but I figured I'd realize why this is hard before I got this far. Um, but I can't really find a problem with this plan. All right, how do we consume a SQLware and? Here? Oh yeah, that's right. We do this like funny nonsense. Okay, but if we have a SQLware and, yeah, this was pretty gross. I had a to do about fixing this. Defaultable. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is so gnarly. I can do so much better than this now. Um, okay. Yeah, this was I was like so new at it here. I didn't know that you could just like set the thing that you cared about as a constant field on the struct and it would work just fine and we wouldn't need all this nonsense. Conditional behavior, you could like pass the function, the procedure pointer onto the thing. You could save the procedure on the struct. But okay, so static SQL where to string is somewhere. Oh yeah, okay. Right, so this is where we're like recursing and like gluing all the ands and stuff together. hmm So I think in like this, we would need to be able to say we need to like prefix stuff, right? We need to be able to say like here your prefix is like well, like so concretely, if we want to actually like flatten this out, if we want to like do an and like glue things together, like because this is getting LSH left hand side and right hand side args, we're gonna need to know how to like traverse that tree when we're like filling placeholders. So we'll need to like pass prefixes through so that like we could rewrite, for example, so let's say that we have this not as this like one thing, but we have like, I don't know, small like first condition is square of like whatever equals like something and uh, and we have like second condition. Okay, this is like the worst placeholder data ever. But let's say, so we have like combined and condition is going to be like SQL and of first condition, second condition. And now like and condition is like um, we look like this right now, which is cool, which is fine. It did require some copying, which is true of this version as well, right? We're like copying over each indexed parameter as you do an and, which we could, I think, more easily get around with this combination strategy than we were doing previously. Um, yeah, and so then it means that then we want to like convert this to a string. We have like the strings that we've got are like this, and like that. And so it seems pretty clear that like, and then what we want is like whatever equals left hand side params dot something, and another thing gets right hand side params dot param. Like this is like the outcome that we want. Um, Gotta figure out how to fit like dots in here, like if that makes sense. Maybe that's just fine. I don't know of any SQL syntax that would like demand there be a dot after a placeholder looking thing this way. What do like ranges look like in SQL? I think they're always like between something and something, right? This is like a number literal has a dot in the middle. Yeah, it's always like commas and stuff. Postgres doesn't really get clever with dots. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this actually. right? So like, and then when we want to like fill placeholders, we'll get to our like prepare, and we'll need so right, we'll get to prepare, and we'll need to be able to then shim things into an any to do this like last mile on SQL execute to call execute with an array of prepared args. Well, and then like it's still ambiguous to me when is the right time to like flatten things out for Postgres. Because like one thing that I've been like pleasantly surprised by is I don't know, was it in here? You can like repeat, yeah, like this, right? Like here we have four placeholders, but we don't have to like, denormalize the references. Right? We have like there are only two args here. And I feel like the way that we've done it this way with question marks makes that impossible. But it would be really easy to do it this way, or at least considerably easier to do it this way, where like, right, if this param came up twice, like we've already encountered it once, we don't have to pack it again. So maybe we like never want to convert this into an array. Like maybe we want to pass just like a struct into execute. How could that ever work though? Well, okay, because then like this execute call, like if there's ever a function this way that's going to take some prepared query thing, that's going to have to be a string constant, like always. Because we'll need to be able to like parse it to generate the code to pack. But I think that's like one of my design goals. Okay, so I think everything I've done up until this point has made it like a convenient feature that um, why does this make me nervous? So everything up until now, it's been like a cute and convenient thing that these SQL expressions are always known statically, and the compiler knows about them statically, and we can generate code around them statically, but like we don't actually generate bytecode or generate like metaprogrammed stuff that like depends on them being like for sure known statically. We have them at runtime. We could use them if we wanted to at runtime. It's fine. And I think going further down this path that I'm sort of like sketching out in here, like if we pass this string into a function that looks like execute connection, SQL expression, and like params struct, like if we end up like here, and then like we're gonna like read like this is like a statically known string, and then this is like some t that like matches up with this SQL expression. Like if we get it to this point, then we're gonna like insert run some nonsense that's gonna like parse SQL expression, find all the paths it demands exist on params struct, build like and then like write um, generate code traverse those paths to build up like build up like the params array, and then eventually like call PQ, call the libpq thing. It's like PQ exec. Like this one, it's going to call this by building up param values. And then, yeah, okay. Uh, right? And then this is going to be wild. I think this is going to be great though. It's going to let us like reap a lot of benefits of things. It's going to like explode the amount of like metaprogrammed stuff. Hmm. I think I just go for it. I think I just give this a shot. I think that sounds great. Um, yeah. How much confidence do I have that this is possibly going to work? Can I like pull this to a new window? I always get annoyed that I can't easily pull this to a new window. All right, let me pull it to my other screen, save this to my notes. For some reason, I feel like my root notes directory is something that I should not share on a stream. All right, okay, let me get rid of that. Okay, pull this back up. And we're back. Okay, so what all do we want to change now? For one thing, what have I changed? Cool, just that one file. Yeah, so that was just like an improvement, and here is actually, yep. Okay, I think I'm gonna cut that and that. Oof, this is gonna be a pretty big refactor to do all at once, isn't it? Maybe I'll leave these and just port things over to the new versions little by little, or... Okay, I think first I'm going to do some incremental cleanup, and then I'm going to walk to make this actual change. Okay, so for one thing, here we need like this, and I just want to say here, toString is going to be, uh, toString is going to be like, single. It's like you're either like compound or you're like not. Leaf SQL where to string. Yep. Yep. And then I'll need like a compound SQL, or let's just call it like, let's call it like SQL where to string and SQL where and to string, right? Cool. Great. And I want SQL where and dot left hand side, SQL where dot toString on SQL where and dot left hand side, and SQL where and dot. That feels good to me. This feels about right. cool. This is going to be SQL where to string. To string is going to be SQL where and to string. Great. And just for consistency, I think that these parens are, I'm like all but certain those are unnecessary, but I'm gonna like bring them back. Okay. And then here, okay, I'm gonna cut this out. And this is like the worst one. Okay. So it's like if we get a pointer to anything, yeah, I like this. Okay. Otherwise, return t dot to string of where. And this wants to be like a dereferenced. Nah, that should probably be pointers. Pointers all the way down, huh? And these left-hand side and right-hand sides, these are pointers? No? I got lost. Oh, yeah, okay. So here, really what I should have said is like SQL where type. Yeah, okay. Great. I like this a lot. This makes much more sense to me. Um, cool. And this brings back to the front that like it's weird that you can't just like bind in this language, but it's fine. Okay, and all I'm doing right now is just like refactoring a little bit to make the actual change I want to make more reasonable. And I think that's just like hopefully just deleted a ton of boilerplate. Let me run my test real fast because I feel like I feel like I did, yeah, terrible. Okay, what did I get wrong? Attempt to dereference type, double pointer to that, but this is not a namespace type. Field was toString. Huh. How do we get a double pointer there? Where am I? Where's like the root of this? Oh, I think I wanted to not do that. And I think I wanted to do t here. And I think I want this to be static, SQL where to string. And I want this to be static where and to string to actually glue together the bits that I cared about. Okay, now I'm closer. Now I'm closer. Okay. SQL expression is not while generating a polymorph from SQL select line 56. Uh-huh. What did I want to do here? Oh yeah, so here I think I want to just call SQL where to string, right? I see. What what are we doing here? I think what I really wanted was like, um, Okay, so I only have the bound things. Uh-huh. Okay, I guess what where do I use this? Just in this one other spot. Okay, so maybe I'll call this like SQLware type toString, and I'll call this SQLware and type toString. And then here, I guess I can just call type to SQLware string. Like, what even is this for? This is for like cases when I pass in like null here, right? I think. Yeah, I only ever called this one time, and I use it with this where, which is a pointer that might be null. And so I think really what I was doing was like, okay, okay, uh-huh, uh-huh. All right, do I have like a default where? Uh-huh. Does this ever even come up? Where does this come up? No, no. Yeah, I mean, this is like test code. This one. But like the actual body of this is always governed by static data, right? And so like this like should not exist. Where am I? Here? Okay, this looks a lot like the, okay, let me like reset for a minute. So, okay, let me find this like, I think I don't like these names as much. I think I like this like static prefix pattern, only it caused an issue here. And I think, oh right, but we're like in this context of this run, I thought that's a problem. So I think I wanted to say like where string gets is like gets an empty string. This is like the one time where we're special casing exactly like this, and like we'll just like eat it, right? So like we'll say like if um like that. Is that right? Uh, what do I want to call this? Like, all right. And then the other thing is that like I'm not thrilled with this one being both like the specific of like a leaf and being the like feeling like the generic, you know, like that it has it's got like a double meaning, makes it hard to reason about. Um, whatever, one thing at a time. Okay, let's just like figure out. Attempt to do reference type void, but this is not a namespace type. Field was toString. But I just checked to make sure that if where, we only do this if where is not void. Like print. Printing out a big SQL where and. We're attempting to do reference type void, but this is not a namespace type. It is toString. What a bummer. There's like a type info void. I bet there is. Yeah, okay. If type info of where dot type is not equal to dot void, then have at it. What? Yeah, okay. Okay, this is exciting. How to be static if, that makes sense. Undefined symbol, a bunch of stuff. Huh. This is discouraging. So it seems like they're like polymorphed versions of static SQL where toString. They're not like making it. Well, honestly, I'm starting to wonder like, yeah, that's what I figured. I wonder what I'm supposed to make of this. And it is the static version, yeah? Static SQL string for some like hash or whatever. And it's super weird that my tests pass, but then like this build step fails. And I bet this will make tests fail, right? Okay, cool. And that's actually like a good thing. I wanted that. Okay, SQL spec.j13. Yeah, and I want to like get rid of these extraneous params. And I was gonna do that again here. SQL spec 48. This set of params and also this set of params and also this set of params. Okay, cool. So the test passed, and now we're just back to this confusion. Oh no, let me look at my, oh, I forgot about this. Workspace specs, workspace JRecord. Okay, my routes. Oh, this is, I haven't checked this in a while. This is pretty cool though. Look at these patterns we're matching against users, tags, to-dos. It's fun. Okay, here, yeah, this is like SQL updates, which that's gonna have to change because these are all any's. She has like bad news. Um, Although actually a lot of this could be a little, because these are coming from a struct where the struct has a null pointer, things might actually be a little bit easier there. It's really null literals that are the problem. This is SQL parsing. This looks like SQL parsing and has many's and stuff. Let me scroll through a little more. I guess we're not doing a lot of like, ooh, that's wild. Yeah, I don't know if this would be in the meta program, like, or in the generated strings. Like, we're not really like emitting much text for that. We're just using polymorphism, which makes it more worrying that they're not coming out correctly. Like, how is that even possible to get wrong? I wonder if I downgrade to an older J compiler, if this clears up. What do I want to do? Like remove J, uh, and then try again. Oh, okay, still got it. Great, this is like a proper problem. Well, let me like stop this and bring it back. Like remount it. Yeah, okay, still got it. Cool. All right, I bet I've got a ton of like zombie Docker processes right now. Yep. Get rid of that. That. Wow. I don't know what happened. I feel like Docker updated and it like broke some stuff I was really relying on, and I don't know how to get back what I used to have. But it really makes me even more optimistic about the kind of stuff that this language is for. Removing the need for so much of this. It's just this language to support Mac already. All right, get out of here. Okay, what was I going to do? I was going to remove that symlink again and then bring it back. Is that the latest? Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. So we still don't have this. Still stumped about how that could be a linker error. I'm gonna poke around at the places where we call these. So I feel like they're weird. So this one in the spec, yeah, this feels like the wrong thing to test, right? This really wants to be testing. Well, let's look at where we actually call it from production code so I can answer that question more correctly. Okay. So these like are called, yeah. We've always got a where. You know, I think that I was like relying on some like null object pattern goodness here. And hoping that like a null pointer would be nice, but I kind of want to like hard code like wherever, right? SQL empty where. Like I kind of want to say like this, and then I kind of want to say like this can't be null. This is like a proper SQL where that we're passing around. What does that even mean? Like this is even worrying because this is like an unspecified SQL where, right? And I think I want that, and I think I want to say, okay, yeah, because like this from, I really, this is really underthought. This can't take like a compound where or anything. This is like, uh, ugh. All right. Let me clean this up a little bit. Except this is like munging args, right? Whatever. If SQL where is not equal to empty SQL where, then args get squared out args. Prepared SQL, prepared args, prepare it with, this should just be static SQL where to string on that. Yeah, that sounds about right. Is that the correct thing? I really want to call like SQL where dot to string. That's what I really want to be doing. Yeah, and maybe pulling these out into separate functions isn't even helpful. I'll just like try this like in a real OO way for a second here. I'm going to say return SQL expression. And I'm going to say return this stuff. And I'm going to just like, yeah. That feels like a lot better to me. Get that out of here. Less polymorphizing needed. I think I definitely don't want that to exist. Okay. Okay, now what's happening here? This where equals that. Okay, Yep. Okay. And here I can just do super.toString without passing in anything. Oh my gosh, you're killing me with VS Code. Okay, that seems like reasonable, right? All right, where else were we calling SQL where to string? Okay, so in here I want to call. I want to just say like type of and dot to. Wait, no, what am I doing here? Okay, type of and to string. Yeah. And here I want to say where's once again that equals empty SQL where empty. Okay, and that I want to say SQL where dot to string. Uh-huh. That feels pretty good, yeah? And this one I again want to say and dot. Okay, is this gonna work? Hmm. Yeah, okay, so this might things are weird because I deleted some pointers, but I think that's fine. And I think I'm gonna do that here too. Okay, great. And I think I just want to say here where string. Oh, that feels pretty good. And then that happens in here, which means that this needs to be, do I ever have this T? No. Great, still want to be pointer. Okay. Here I want to say like if type of where is not equal to empty SQL where. Yeah. Actually, like I feel pretty good saying that's fine. Leave that for now. What are we up to here? We have a problem in mismatching levels of interactions, wanting a pointer, type given empty. Oh, interesting. Huh. That's an interesting trick. I guess we can't. Wait, okay, let me just see. This might actually be simpler. Okay. Like this wants to be, like, does that just fix it? No? How do we get here? This still might be the same. Yeah, okay, that's not gonna work as well as I hoped it would. Well, I think I could just like not use the default syntax for that. It'll just be fine. Yeah, like I think in these cases I can have just like the slightly more verbose form of I can like do this. Yeah. Um, right, because I think that the problem here is that it was trying to polymorph based on this type, and then this type wouldn't match that type. And we have bad news. Which is like valid. Maybe that's some like feedback here. Okay, let's call it like let's like yeah. Uh, polymorphs and defaults. like defaults for right, okay, so like this doesn't work. Okay, let me see if this fixes it though before I go too far. Okay, attempt to define some polymorphic struct in executable code until a struct has all parameters provided. I can't. Where am I? SQL word.j line 16. Oh, this isn't what I wanted. I wanted to get rid of that, get rid of that. No good. Oh yeah, I want to get rid of those. Yeah, okay, this is like predictable. That was just like sloppy. Ooh. Oh. Okay, cool. This is progress. Where am I? This time I'm in SQL select. Great. I think I don't want that. I want to say SQL select execute. Hmm. I think you can just probably cut this because I don't think we call this from outside of here. Yeah, okay. And the same happened on SQL update. Great. Okay, this feels like I found the issue and I found like a perfectly reasonable workaround for it. Okay, great. Looks like I still have a null going in somewhere. I need to take a bio break, but I'll be back. Test, test. Okay. What did we get to? Attempt to dereference type void, but this is not an namespace type, even though we're in the static if. Oh, right. Okay, because there's somewhere we're still passing in a null pointer. Here. How does a void get in there? Well, okay. In this case, where is now like a polymorphized type. And really what I probably want to do is give empty and args, which is just like any and empty any. Either way, I can say this. Um, Now what's going on? We still have void here. How do we get a void in there? Repo. Oh, I see. Is it from find? Is it from all? It's from all. Here, so that no longer can be like that. This is kind of a bummer. This is like a tricky thing to express, isn't it? Do we ever just call all? Main, yeah, the controller. Oh, dang. Well, no, that's not gonna work either. We're gonna have the same problem. So the tricky thing is this like repo all, I think we like can't, I mean, maybe we can just say it like this, but I doubt this is gonna work for us. Um, like this seems really unlikely. This seems like there's no way this actually works, because like, I mean, I don't know, maybe this does work. Maybe big arguments is polymorphic and clever and can map all these things together and give us this effective default, and life is just going to be good. That does sound hard to believe, though. Huh. What did I get wrong here? Oh, yeah, of course. 1 0 got 1. Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, it's like making it like this is getting like erased by this one. Uh, I mean, okay. Yeah, like this is really the problem. I could replace this like a where. right? Yeah, maybe that sounds good to me. Call it where. This is pretty good. Okay. So I don't want anything but a closing paren. Great. So in all these cases, I want to change it to dot all open or no dot where. Right, and you gotta capture this. Yeah, that seems good. Okay, replace small. Do it. Okay, great. This is pretty good. And then this wants to be where? Okay, now what happens? Hey! Test pass, things build. Great. Okay, so what do we just do? Okay, yeah, so I should fill out this piece of feedback, but we basically just like refactored this implementation of where. Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 I kind of like this where syntax. I like where better than all, maybe. Maybe. Well, we'll see. There's plenty of time to switch it around later. Look at all this deleted static if run nonsense. Yes. Love it. Okay, so this seems like strictly an improvement, but what I was gonna say, what I was gonna work on was this. Okay, so I was gonna say like some procedure gets value this, and it's just gonna like print and main gets some procedure on like I don't know fish and some procedure on 12 and so I think this is clearly a case where like I would hardly call this a bug, but it's certainly frustrating syntax, right? Um, yeah, okay, cool. Oh, dang. Oh, dang. What happened to my... Okay, great. See that? Great, great. Okay. I'm not sure this is a bug, but it definitely is surprising. Limiting limits use. I don't know. Is this like documented somewhere already? Maybe better to check Discord before emailing this one. All right, I'll pause on that. But okay, I feel for the most part, yeah, this is just like a happy refactor. Okay, so what do we do? Refactor where to involve less boilerplatey nonsense. Okay, now the actual change that I wanted to do was to mess with this and not use an array of args, but instead to use like named args. I'm trying to think, like, this feels like a bunch of work, and is this going to get us in the right direction even? Probably. Like, probably. What a mess this is about to become. Well, I don't know, let's do it. Let's just see. Okay, so now instead of args count, we're going to call this like args, which is a type. And this is going to be of type args. And this is going to have left-hand side args of left-hand side equal args. And right-hand side args of right-hand side. This is probably going to be a using. Okay, sounds about right, yeah. Okay, great, and then we want to say here, we can like cut out this business and say left-hand side args gets left-hand side dot args. Yeah. I think I want to like fix this API too. I want to get rid of these like stars. That feels like overkill. Especially because like J's compiler talks about doing those like by reference or by value, depending on what makes the most sense, but either way, leaving it immutable. Okay. Great. So now in here, we've set these, and they've got like, they're typed now, right? It's not like var args. They've got like a strong type. I don't know, it's like the least that we can do next. Honestly, this might have like already solved our problems. Reverse equal placeholders for args. Okay, so we're gonna have to mess with like every time. Yeah, okay, that's gonna be gnarly. We're gonna have to do a bunch of it's like this spec is just like totally inadequate now. And like what even do we like have here? But okay, so like in here we take an expression and args type any. And this seems like too much type erasure already. So like how do we get to here? Is from decomposing yeah. That was not so bad. This one gets weird because we need the sets and we need the where stuff. Yeah, like we need like this much. And update just flattens itself to. Although the update, like, yeah, right? Like, update this two-SQL update args business. Just get rid of that, huh? Right? I think this is going to have to be the same for inserts. The reason I'm slowing down a little bit is because I'm like confused about what exactly was going wrong in my problems with using these update things to create like insert a null in here. Because I would have assumed that like this would be like this is kind of the point, this is kind of it, and that we just like array add to this array of any's that like you know updatable fields dot something, and if that something resolves to null, like that's fine. We'll just take a pointer to that spot in memory, which is the struct in the updatable field that's not getting freed for the duration of this function, this procedure. I guess that's not what happened. Hmm. Well, what do I really mean here? Let me go back to where I started from. So on like a SQL update execute, this expression string really wants to be, yeah, wants to be like known statically. And like, this is like doable. This seems doable, right? All right, like what's going on here? I think, okay, we call this also in SQL select, but it's easier because it's just from the where stuff. Yeah. We must call it on like insert. I'm calling it all over. Oh, and this is cool, right? Here we can just say args gets where.args, but like this is already dead. That's probably why I didn't care very much about that. All right, what do I want to do here? Let me just like pick one to start with. Let me play with select. Seems a little bit easier. Okay, and this wants to be where.args. Really, we just want to pass in like the where itself now, I believe. Okay. Yeah, okay. And I think I need to make a decision here about like, I did at one point think it sounded cute to pass this work on to like the Postgres like an actual Postgres connection. But I I think it seems bad to wrap pqlib with much more than just like exactly the bare minimum to bind to pqlib, libpq. You know, like I think I want something that looks like pq exec params. Um, and like this is going to look radically different from that. So I think I want to keep this moving, keep this looking pretty similar. Um, this app has the weirdest phone ringtone. But it's like a rental. Who calls rental house landlines? Is it telemarketers? I don't know. Unknown number. Okay. I should also check the time. Am I? Okay. Well, let's take a swing at this, yeah? So it's like from the colon until we see anything that's not like a valid identifier, right? It's like in here. Yeah, so currently we just say like if we see a placeholder character. Um, but really we gotta like scan for the full token now. All right, and what is this even doing? Okay, so if we encounter a placeholder, grab the arg, got an array, then iterate over it and shove all the null, shove all the stuff in. Oh, that looks like a bad idea. This null is like a problem. Um, I wonder how that plays out. I bet I never try that because I bet this code path blows up. Okay, otherwise if it's a singular element, then we just add it. And then now, right, if we have an array type, then we need to insert a bunch of placeholders, otherwise just the one. Okay. So I think that now this like doesn't want to be a for loop anymore. It really wants to be more of a while loop. Gonna have to just like rewrite this one. Okay, but this being called SQL execute at all is like pretty weird. Let's call it prepare. Uh, okay, I'm gonna call this now SQL prepare. Great. And there. Okay, great. And now here, let's say that like expressions gotta be done statically. And what do I want to do? I definitely need a next placeholder index. I don't need a current. I don't need that. Okay, and let's say remainder gets expression. Okay. Oh, now this gets weird, doesn't it? Oh, this is gonna be bizarre. This is gonna be really weird. Okay, I love it. I love it. What do I use here? Oh yeah, because we have to right. Given the expression, we have to like stretch it out a little bit. Yeah, okay, this is gonna be great. All right, so let me like write up an example one of these up here. So like let's say like this is like select star from users where ID is in 1, 2, 3 or in IDs and say created as less than max created at. And let's like get a little bit more clever here. Let's like pretend these are coming in from like an and, so we can support this dot syntax. That seems like a good idea. Okay. Uh, yeah. So then what we're going to want to omit is like select, and let's say that like we get left-hand side is going to be IDs 1, 2, 3, and right-hand side is going to be ID. No, it's going to be max created at. That feels cool. I don't know why, but I feel obligated to do this. Okay, and then I think I already missed on these names, right? It's left-hand side args and right-hand side args, and we get args. Okay, great. So really this wants to be args, right-hand side args. This wants to be args, and this wants to be args. And this is like args, IDs. But like that gets like rinsed away in the wash. That's probably not worth focusing on. Okay, and we want to emit select star from users where ID in 1, 2, 3 and created at is less than 4 with 1, 2, 3, 2021, 06, 07 as args. Yeah? Okay, that makes sense to me. Cool. Yep, let's do it. Okay, great. So we're going to insert some wild stuff here. Hmm. Okay, problem number one. Well, so it's like we gotta statically do the like path traversals, but we gotta wait until dynamically we can do the flattening of lists. This is gonna be really weird. Let's see how this feels. So okay, I guess like one thing is that we might here fall back to like a two-pass strategy. And like on the first pass, we um, emit something like a current thing with question marks. And then in a second pass, we convert those question marks into like indexed $sign placeholders, $sign number placeholders. And then we can expand them at that moment to include like multiple valued things. But the other is that we could just metaprogram just the whole thing in this like string builder nonsense and see where we get. And I'm honestly pretty tempted to do that. Maybe we'll like see how it feels. I'll like try just ambitiously metaprogramming the whole thing and then we can see what happens. I bet it's gonna feel pretty gross pretty soon. Okay. All right, so I guess like step one is chunking this string into like bits, which each one is yeah, each one is either going to be like a snippet of SQL we just like paste together, or a wildcard, like a placeholder that will fill with real placeholder values. Yeah. Okay. So no. Do how do I want to do any of this? This is a really frustrating. I gotta change so many SQL layers. Suddenly I have second thoughts about this refactor. Seems like it might be easier not to replace this existing code where it lives, but like to create a new code path and slowly replace all the existing consumers with this new pattern. Because it's going to take forever to get everything in line. But let me, and like, right, it's going to take a very long time of me writing like boilerplate nonsense here and updating tests before I'll have any sense of whether anything works at all. But I don't know, let's just try it. Okay, we've got an expression. Let's like, I don't know. Let's say that while remainder uh, we'll say and like we'll get like, I don't know, token type, token contents, remainder gets that. Is this like allowed? I think this works, right? Next on SQL is going to return of identifier or SQL will be token type okay. And okay, it's like if SQL 0 gets car of a colon, then return and yeah, okay, so let's go with like identifier, contents, get, and remainder gets. Is it like advance? Yeah. It's like this, and it returns a new string. You see, it's just great, great, great. Else return SQL. Great, that feels pretty good to me. And then next, identifier is going to take this and if it, okay, if okay, so return character equals a dot or greater than or equal to jar of A and less than Z, or same thing with capitals, or is equal to an underscore, or 0 to 9. I think that's all, yeah? That feels like all. Okay. Great. So if is allowed identify character SQL bracket it. If not, okay, this returns a token content or an identifier and remainder. And I want to here, I want to return slice SQL 0 to I plus 1. Just I. And advance of SQL I. Yeah, okay. Say that like you can't have, you gotta have at least one character of identifier. That makes sense to me. Okay. This feels fine. This feels fine. I think it's want to be allowed, but just like as identifier character. We'll say like character terminates identifier. That seems easy. Next, SQL. Yeah. Okay. Now if and basically here I just like run forwards until I hit a colon. Although I likely want to do some escaping about like if someone ever writes like I don't know, right? Like this should be like allowed, right? Like that shouldn't blow up on like a Terminator thing. Let's see, like yeah. I probably also need to like. There's a lot of like colon colon in like SQL expressions. It's like a cast and stuff. Man, I'm making myself a real annoying piece of work to do here, aren't I? Say, maybe I'll say like this. Like count it to short circuit its way out of there. And that way, like colon dot colon underscore and then colon any of this stuff was never going to come up. It would be like a double colon and then I'll catch it. That feels good here. Okay. Um, yeah, that's still what to do, like SQL string patterns. Yeah. Okay, so here I want to say for, I think I still want to start from one because we like consider the first character and we know it's like a non-colon. So in here, I want to say like if SQL of it equals char of colon uh, and not, I don't know, if we hit a colon, just like bust out of it, get pop back up another level seems reasonable to me. Let's start here, see what happens. Um, yeah, that sounds fine. Oh, motorboat's passing by with a dog on it. It's a good time to be sitting on a lake. The dog looks much happier than my dog would be on a boat. All right, so if we hit a colon, then we want to say return slice from SQL from 0 to it. Yeah, that sounds right. And advance of SQL it minus 1, I want to say. Let me just like call this something. Does that make sense? So here I go all the way to index and advance by index. But because right, we had a character that wanted to terminate, and I think we want to do the same thing here. Does that make sense? But like amount, if amount's 0, the string comes out unchanged. If we slice from 0, 0, the string comes out Yeah, I think this is gonna be wrong. All right, no, it looks like it's slice. Oh yeah, okay, I think we're good. Because this is count. Count goes to 0. It's cool. Okay, so we just continue till we hit a colon. When we hit a colon, we pop back up here and make a decision about whether we can pop up another identifier. Okay. Okay. Do we have like a split? Uh-huh. Love it. Okay, great. We do have a split. So we can split on dots, traverse based on that. Is that gonna work? I think it'll work. Yeah, okay, cool. Um, yeah, let's try to boil this whole ocean. Okay, so if token type equals, all right, so in this example here, we're probably the emitted code that we're going to want to have is probably going to say, um, it strikes me that we're going to have in this emitted program that we generate here, we're going to have two builders, one to be building up the SQL expression. Um, I guess just like one proper builder and one like array. Yeah. Okay, so let's start here by saying, like, what is this? Prepared SQL builder, get string builder. Um, and we want to defer free buffers on it. And we also need to say prepared args gets an array of any. Is that what I want still? I think it is. I think it is. For now, at least. Let's see how it goes. And I think we can get around this because we're never going to be doing like problematic null comparisons on any's in here. And so we're never going to be setting anything to like a constant inline null in here. So I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay. Okay. So now here, um, if token type is equal to fire, maybe I'll start with SQL. That sounds nicer. We got some SQL, then we're just going to print to the builder. Print to builder to the prepared SQL builder of okay, my brain is mush. Yeah, well, that yeah, we can just inline it. That token contents. Okay, that seems reasonable. Yeah. I'm gonna shim in the token contents. We need to worry about escaping in that case, don't we? Okay, what am I worried about here? If we want to shim in strings that we've read of this decomposed SQL query and paste them into this generated code, we need to worry about escaping it if we inline it like this as a constant. Because there might be single quotes or whatever in there. Yeah, do we have like an unescape or like an escape? I doubt it, right? Like a quote, unescape, curl, easy escape. What in the world? That seems not what I want. Unescape, quote. Yeah. Ugh, this seems like, what am I doing? This seems like terrible news. Yeah, because this also means that we're like decomposing one nice string into a bunch of little snippets that we're then gonna like also emit as string constants alongside and like so much draw out. Ugh, yuck. Sorry, just had a weird itch in the middle of my nose. What's the goal here? You want to be able to compose the string together. And we really just want to replace these placeholders, like find these placeholders, replace them with wildcards, populate an array of the values to fill in. I mean, so I've been playing with this concept of like a remainder and stuff. I could get clever and, right, so like this token contents, I mean, all right, so like offset. If we got SQL, we know that like the offset into original SQL is going to be what like expression dot data be like token contents dot data minus expression dot data. Right, and so like if we wanted to just like copy that chunk of memory, like we could. Right, so here we would say slice um, expression from somewhere to somewhere, and then here we would sneak in this. This is like a terrible idea though, especially because, I don't know, I hate this. This seems really bad news. I don't know, let me just try it. It seems like the most unruly kind of point arithmetic. And it's all just like to get around some unnecessary escaping and not escaping, which seems hardly worth it. Whatever. Let's like make this a case statement, make it cuter. I forgot identifier. And this is where things get even like weirder, right? Yep. All right, let's say it. Okay, so we're gonna find the value. Oh, and this is cool. So we probably need like a lexical scope here. Okay, we're gonna look up the value. Yeah, this is gonna get wild. But let's just try it. So we'll say here we have args dot, and then just like the identifier, yeah? Starting from 1. This really wants to start from 1 here, right? We want to like pull the colon off the identifier. Okay, we've got the value. Now we can say, right, so we could, I need another bio break. This one will be short. All right, what was I going to say here? So here's where I can inspect and say, yeah, I think what I want to do is like, remember, find, I thought I had like a, I thought I had like a type infos thing that was like helping me out at one point, but I can't find it. It was like this, but it was not that. I don't see it. Yeah, okay. Okay, so what do I want to do here? So, all right, I guess what I'm thinking is I might have to. How did I do this before? I said I had, yeah. Yep, because I was already looking at an any, so I could inspect its type info, see that it was an array. And I think I can't hop into a type info from a static if. I think that's like not allowed. Um, but I think I can do like that. What is type of return? It's not defined. Nope. What do I really want to say here? It's really just like if I have an array, right? Do we have like an is array? Does that exist? No? How do I not have like is array? That'd be so helpful. I think it's just because type info exposes that, right? It's just that like hopping into the type info tag bumps me out of something that's like statically ifable. How do I mess around with this? How do I compute that? Yeah, I like pull that out and run it separately. That's so annoying. All right, so I could sneak that annoying stuff in here. What's probably a better call is like to traverse the type infos from here. Uh, and like not embed some static ifs here, but like run the ifs statically in this builder. Um, yeah, okay, so like let's call this identifier type is going to be type um, while for yeah. I don't know. It's gonna get right. This is gonna have to be like that. I'm gonna say like args type info. Okay, that seems reasonable. And now for split identifier on comma think that's how it works, yeah. String separator. String separator. I'm just going to traverse down this thing. I'm going to say, okay, so for identifier segment, for member in identifier. Oh, and I should like, um, there, that feels good. Okay, now for member in members. Okay, for each of these members, I want to say if member.name equals member name, then identifier type info gets member dot type. Is that what it's called? Strut dot type. Yep. Yeah, I better. And then continue member name. Or just break out of this loop. Okay, great. So we've got the identifier type info, and now if identifier dot type equals array, do array stuff, else do cool. And here we can like do the typecasting that we need to do, right? This was an unexpected benefit. Although we are still sneaking things into an any, and so it might really be an unexpected detriment. Like it might not really help that much, but that's fine. Okay, so here I want to, like what's the easy case? Man, I don't know. Basically we want to like occupy a placeholder slot and push an arg for each element in the array. Okay, so I think I need, start there. Okay, so print to builder of string builder, and I want to print to builder here to prepared SQL builder. With $, percent, and next placeholder index. Comma. right, first I need to like do iterating, right? Print builder for I grabbed value, for value, then do that, then if it index equals value dot count minus 1, great. Okay, so that is the placeholders and the commas. Then I need to print a builder saying next placeholder index needs to get incremented. And I need to add an arg. What's the word? Prepared args. Value. All right. I think that this still has the problem that we've like encountered before. Yeah. And I think really what I want to do is like not, I think this assignment is an issue. So let's say like value expression gets sprint of that. Uh, I think I don't need this scope anymore. And I think I can do for that and pull out value expression. That feels pretty good. Okay, okay, and here I need that. Value expression again. Okay, and I think that this will actually, the array add is going to take a pointer to like the right thing. Although I really am stumped about it. Well, because I think what would happen without the array add is if I do that value assignment, then the any is going to construct an any around that reference, that value, and it's going to get all tripped up and fall down because it would be like a null copied onto the stack. But like this way, I don't have that problem. I also think that when I do iteration in here, it has to be by, oh, this one actually probably doesn't matter. Oh, it does, yeah, it does for sure. It super matters. It, I want to say, I have to do that. Um, I'm really kind of grasping at straws here. Yeah, right. We have an array, so it probably doesn't matter. What I was worried about is probably not that big a deal. Like undo a few things. This seems fine. What matters is that we iterate over these by pointer, I think. And that seems fine. And this wants to be like that. Very worried. Very worried this is going to embody all the same problems that have caused pain so far. I don't know what to do about it. Okay, whatever. Um, okay. If we got an array, we iterate. Have we been indented this whole time? Yeah, because that. Okay, cool. 4, 4, 4, 4, 2, and 0. Um, seems fine. Okay, otherwise, it's just like, how does boxing of any's happen? Uh-huh. Maybe it's calling procedures what we care about here. Okay, this was the wrong thing. This is the part that I really need to learn. Hmm. Okay. Man, I really think that any is the enemy. Or that any should be avoided in this case, in case like it. What would that even mean though? I think it would mean that we need to like what? Well, it really wouldn't be that bad, would it? Because it would mean that we'd be traversing this and doing this work in calls that just lightly wrap PQ exec params. Um, and that's not so terrible. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I've spun a lot of cycles on this already, but I'm like not convinced I'm even pushing in the right direction. So like, do I keep pushing and get to like green specs? I'm like pretty deep in this refactor, and it's gonna take a while to get the specs green. Or um, do I just like bail to like slow it down? Like, because I think this is the wrong spot to be doing this, because I'm still building up this array of any's, which still need to be boxed up appropriately. It's still just like a rough time. Like, I really think that like this is gonna create a problem no matter what, because I'm gonna need like boxed up nulls, right? Like an any that wraps a pointer to a null just like sitting around. Or I'll need some like hard coded like any null nonsense. Maybe I'll pause for a sec, stash what I've got. Because I've changed a ton. Um, and it's just, I think it's wrong. I think I get the feeling I'm pushing in the wrong direction. Um, actually, let me just check out, let's say like first swing at name SQL params. Let me make sure I know what I did here. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, get rid of those pointers. Get rid of some static if nonsense. Right, and start this as some like deeply metaprogrammed nonsense instead of something that's like in line. Cool. Like begin re-implementing SQL. Oh yeah, I changed his name already. Placeholders. Name params instead of. Oh, hello. How's it going? I'm still a little frustrated with the system, but I think it's getting a little better. All right, I think I might have like a much shorter answer to this problem that I keep tripping over. But I still definitely don't have any. I think in here, I'm often comparing to null, but maybe I'll just like. Um, like. But this can't be constant data. This is like such a weird problem. Yeah, breakthroughs. I have not had the breakthrough yet, but I'm hoping I will. Um, I think there's like a chance that this could work. Let's try this. Okay, so instead of just this, let me do that. Okay, and then the other thing that I was messing around with is there's this like string null somewhere. Where do I play with that? Like in here? Okay. I wonder what sprint of this null any is. I'm trying to, I'm like so stumped. But this runs, right? Type equals star void, wanted, type info, cut given type. Oh. Alright, alright. This seems reasonable. Um, yay, breakthroughs. I need something like nullable to mess with. Uh, wow, I just hit a motivation wall. um, actually, let me think. Yeah. With null values. Uh, yeah, I think I'm just done. Sorry you joined at the very end, Jane. I do not think I have it in me to continue. Although, wow, I've got 3 whole viewers. I think I'm gonna jump back on soon because I think I'm like spinning at this problem in a valuable way, but I'm definitely not anywhere near the end of it where like I'm trying to solve how do I how do I work around this problem that it's very hard to represent a null inside an any because like any's want to be any's are like boxed up in this way that they can't be on the stack. You need to like do this like temporary alloc business. Um, uh, but if I just want to represent a null, I gotta like box it up in a weird way. Like I wonder if we could just like special case the representation of null in an any and it would be better. I don't know. I don't know. But I think I'm out of energy for the day because I already spent all that time getting deep in like name SQL params and don't even remember what that means. Oh yeah, that was a bad time. But this nullable SQL with any was like so frustrating. Yeah, I think I'm done. I think I'm done for the day. Anyway, it's good seeing you. Okay, bye.